So we'll check out the last topic, which is search. So once we are done with these things, right, we have to do something called searching, right? So searching are all the features of SharePoint sites, different libraries, different documents, and all. Now, how do we enable search for different parts of our sites, right? So we'll check out that, and yeah, you guys can mute up yourself, right, so that we can, yeah. Fine. So for searching purposes, there are different configurations again which you have to enable. Again, this search comes under, again, creating a search sites and all may be coming under development, but main settings of different sites and in central administration, how to actually make your web service, I mean service running for searching different things, right, will be done majorly by administrators, right. So initially we'll see how we can create a search here in SharePoint. Whatever you can see here, right, search this site is something which is directly provided, unless you actually provide some details of searching components here, you won't be able to search your site. So we'll be seeing what are the different settings which we have to do in different parts of our website, or how to enable the complete search from your central administration, right, and all. Now first thing, how do we actually, so from where do we search, is the first question, right. So for that we have a separate kind of site content being provided, which is, if you go to, so if you want to make if you want to create anything called search, which is in SharePoint, separate search site is called as a search center, right. So it is a search center. So if you want to create a search center for info IT call, which means from using that search center, if you actually give that URL to anyone, and if you give the permission to that guy, right, he can be able to search anything from your site, right. For that, so what we'll be doing is, we'll have to go to site settings, right. We have a new site, right. So in this new site you can see something called search, right. In search we have few things like basic search, fast search center, and enterprise. The mostly used one is, which is both, which includes everything, is nothing but an enterprise search, because it is mostly used in enterprise applications, right, which is in big corporates and for clients, right. Let us use this. Let me just say search client. Let me give the URL. Let's say create. Now basically, in order to create your search center, you should give one permission level. Actually, I'll show you what is the permission level which you have to give. Let me open the same info IT call here. Now you can see, okay, now it says there is an error in creating, right, which means there is a you should actually enable your one of the services. So what is the services? Let me just go back to the site again. Let me close this again. You have to go to your site settings, which is site settings here, right, and you have to go to manage site features. So we have already seen this thing when we actually worked with web parts, right, and this workflows, right. We have to enable something when we actually work with our uh, with the workflows from VM, right. Now here you have something called SharePoint server publishing, right. You have to actually enable this in order to create a search clients, right. So let me just activate this. So once you activate this feature, right, has not been activated prior to time to feature. Okay, it seems it is not. Okay, let me just check out one more. So one, I've just enabled one more site so that you can just check that out, which is this site. Sometimes, as we have deployed it in our machine, which is Windows 7, right, sometimes it may not work. Let me go to manage site settings, and yeah, okay, so here server side publishing is okay. Okay, anyways, if this is not working, anyways, if this is activated, which is SharePoint server standard side features, which you can see it is actually enabled for profiles and search include SharePoint server license also, right? Now this is active, so let me just try out this here. Site settings, new site, and let me just say search enterprise settings, just say it as search client, copy the same and create site here. Okay, yeah, fine then. So it is been created here, because this site sometimes if you we have created some sites based on some other features when we actually create web application. So this is one site which is we have created directly using something called by default pools and all. So I have created my info IT call using some other pool, so that's why it is not been enabled in this feature. Okay, anyways, we'll just see, check out this site which is mail IT I have taken, right? So I have taken the site called mail IT, which I have just created, which is my mail IT collection, where I have created some few basic sites here, where I have actually enabled some feature called, when I go to site settings, when I go to manage site features, so here when we actually enable this one, right, it actually got enabled and my search client is working now. So this is your search client. So this search client is for only this site. So whatever you have in mail IT collection, right, you can actually have everything under your search. Now again, in SharePoint 2010 there is a bug that once you create a client, right, you don't have anything to move to go to your mother site actually, right? So if you see here, this client is directly, it is not tagged to your home, which is nothing but a mail IT collection. It is not there, right? So for that, what you have to do is you have to configure everything. You can see here, this is as same as your SharePoint page. If you see site actions, right, each and every site action will be same as if you have your own uh, page here. You can actually work on different parts of this using your designer. Actually, you can edit your page. You can actually add different web parts here. You can do that, right? So now you can give the permission to this site. You can give permissions, right, to whomsoever you want to give access, right? In that way you can do. Now here, let me just link up this server client, which is search client. Let me just copy this, and so here from, you can see here from this side, from my mother side, there is no provision anywhere to go to something called search client, right? It is a bug in SharePoint. It won't create by default for you. You have to create your own link for that, right? Let me go to site actions, site settings. So you have something called uh, right okay, let me go to mail IT collection. Is it mail IT collection? Yeah. So in mail IT collection, go to site settings. Okay. We have something called site 3 navigation. So in the navigation, maybe, okay, so in the site settings, okay, I don't want to add anything in this navigation. Okay, let me just go to some site now. I want to add it to my top bar, maybe. Go to site settings again. Under your look and feel, okay, there is something missing, which is top link bar, right? Let's go to RSS site. Go to site settings here. Okay, so why is this missing here? Okay, doesn't matter. So let me just connect this search client to my one more site called info IT collection, right? Let us do that. So here let me just check whether that is there, because we have ticked, yeah, it is here. So it all depends on how you are it is supporting here Windows 7, right? So in here, click on top link bar. So I'll be let us say this search client is a search client of your info IT call. But anyways, we are not going to search anything, but let me just give you all the configuration settings how to set in order to make a search for the whole site, right? So in that, let me create a new navigation link, and let me just copy this link over here, copy, paste it here, and just say search client. right, and click on OK. Now you have, you know, in under info IT collection you have search line. When you click on that, it will take you to a search line. But the basic problem is you don't have anything here to go back to the parent side. You have to click on back navigation bar to go to home, right? So instead of that, what we'll do is now, so we'll copy this home link, and we'll go to search client here. Now here you can actually create your you can actually edit your page. You can add all the web parts whatever you have created under info IT collection. So here you can see the same navigation part, which is bottom zone and the top zones, right, where you can add different web parts. So let me click on add web part, right? You can see whatever things we have created in info IT, you can actually map directly in your search client. Now, so the main thing what we have to do is I want to connect my home site with this search client. So for that you can go to something called media and content, and you have something called content editor. Here you can see allow authors to enter rich text. So rich text is nothing but when you actually select this part, right, which means you can actually create your own links to different pages or different external sites. Let me click on add, right? You can see here it's a content editor. We have already seen, if you remember, we have created our own content editor in our blogs, where we wrote something like this blog is so and so, and at the right hand side of your blog, right? This is the same content editor. So here we'll be adding something new here. So let me just click here to add new content editor. Now you can see your editing tools will come. Click on insert. Now you can see there is a link here. So click on that and just say from address. So I want to click it from my address. So text to display, let me just say my home, and click on address. Either you can actually just say I want to copy the whole site, or if you are actually working on the same site, right, you can just say this. So this means that you want to actually go to the root site. If you are connecting the search center with something else, as we are doing now, you can just copy the same URL and click on OK, right? Now a link will be created here. Now if you say go back to page and just say save and close, right? Now you can see home. If you click on my home, it will take you to info IT collection. If you go search client, it will take you to okay. Now this content editor, we don't need this because this is a web part name, right? You can just say edit web part, and either you can delete the name from here, title, right? Or what you can do is we have something called Chrome type. You can just say none. When you say none and apply, it will take you out from that. So now just say save and close. Now your search center is more clear now, right? Where we have something called search box, and you have my home. Click on my home, it will take you to info IT collection. Click on search client, it will take you to your site again here, right? So these are, we create something called search center. So this is nothing but a search center where actually what you can do, you can search up everything whatsoever you have in the corresponding site. Now anyways, we have created a client for one site and we have tagged it to my site called info IT collection, which cannot be searched anyways, right? So now let us see the basic configurations, which is very important to enable some search things, because by default if you have created something called, let me just say in RSS feed side we have created a list, right? You will not be actually search these things directly until unless you do something called give access to search. Now how do we give that? Is this way. The first thing what you have to check always is, if you want to actually enable a search in your SharePoint, is so you have to go to central administration, right? Yeah, under your application management, so you have service applications, right, which we have already seen, which is manage service applications, where you can see each and everything will be active. So we have already seen something called user profiles service application, where we have created something called user profiles in SharePoint, right? So in the same hierarchy, you have something called search service application, this one. Always make sure that this option is actually working fine. This option is actually up and running. So if the service is not up and running, which means you will never be able to actually create something called search centers for your complete SharePoint. Now let me go back to services on server, and let me just check one thing. Yeah, you can see search query and search site settings things, right? So you can see that it is already running and up. Sometimes let me just check some more tokens here. Where is that? I want to show you something else. Yes, RCH, right? Yeah, sure. This one, which is SharePoint server search. We have two things here, which is search queries to the direct search, and you have something called SharePoint server search. You can see the same thing being which I have already shown you, something called under services. Make sure that these two things are running up and fine. So if it is stopped, which means you will never be able to actually do something called searching in across your sites, which means there is no use of your search center again, right? So that is what is something called service been running. So you can always check that under your application management, go to manage services, service application, you can see something called search service applications, and it should be always up and running, right? Anyways, this proxy, so you can see for each and everything there will be a main service and a proxy service. So what does the proxy mean? Proxy means, let us say if your actual server is down, right? Or if something is going wrong with the main service, right? What it does is it will take the proxy server, it will enable the proxy server and do the task on the backup servers, which is nothing but a proxy servers. So by default, even that will be whenever you actually activate your SharePoint, right? All the both the instances, both your normal links and the proxy, both will be actually activated. Sometimes you have to activate by yourself, right? So make sure this thing is up and running. So how to see, because from here you will never be able to make it up. So from where do you need to make this service up is, you have to go to central administration, go to manage service on server. Now you can see something called SharePoint server search. This should be started. Now once you start this again, so wait to see whether it is what is happening with this service, because your services in SharePoint will take some services in SharePoint will take lot of time. It may take 4 hours, 5 hours, or maybe 10 hours to actually start a service, because so many services will be running and so many services will be actually looped up to run, right? So that's why it may take much time. But if you just start it up, and if you want to see the status, right, you can always go to monitoring, which we have seen. In monitoring you have something called check job status, right, where actually you can see what are the jobs which are scheduled. So our job, when you start there, right, it can be into either in a scheduled state or in a running state. Even if it is a running state, maybe it may take some time to run, right? And if there are already some scheduled jobs which are running and they are maximum possible batches running, so it may take some time. So even at that time you have to wait until it starts, right? So that's how we enable something called search from our central admin. So that is the only service, for the whole SharePoint complete application. So if you are creating 100 sites, it doesn't matter. If you are not enabling this, you will not be able to do something called search across your sites. So this is the first step, which is from your central administration, making your search service up. Now let's come back to our site levels, right? So in these site levels, so what happens here is if so the first step what we'll be doing is what we have to do is you have to enable for each and every site. Again, you have to enable something called your internal site service, again, which we have already seen in site settings, right? Yeah, go to site settings here. What is happening? go to site action, site settings. Yeah, yeah. In this, you have something called manage site features. Now you have to make sure that to run this up. So sometimes, so SharePoint have got one big disadvantage, that if something is not running right, it won't show the direct message. It won't show that so this so and so is happening. What it does is it will log your bug. It will actually log something that the service is not running, or whatever bug is been created, and you have to go to that bug, and you have to check what is happening. So that is one of the big things in SharePoint, which is not which is not actually user friendly, right? but but anyways, logging will be done at each and every step, so that we can actually debug whatever is a issue we are getting, right? So for that, make sure that you're actually enabling something called server standard site features, where your search will come. Now if you are done with that, then you'll be able to add something called a search center. Now in search center, so what we'll be doing is we'll be searching different sites, whether I have a page or not, or in different sites you may be having something called search different components. So components, let me just open that first. Components in the sense, when you have added something in RSS feed, when you have added something called codes and all, right, actually in SharePoint you can actually search each and every item too. That is possible. Each and every item, right, which is an list item or a document item, anything can be searched from your search center, right? So let me just get back to this and show you something how to do that settings. The first ever setting you have to do is for complete site first. Now if you don't have site setting for, if you don't want to give complete site setting for everything, you may go to component levels. I'll show you how to give the site settings for complete site and for the component levels. So first thing is site. So for everything, even for a component level or a site level, again the entry is same, which is go to site settings, under site actions, right? Site
No,
settings, site actions. Yes, hello.
yeah, I lost your voice.
Okay,
Okay,
is it fine now? Okay, fine.
yeah,
So yeah, so under this you have something called, under site administration we have two different things. First thing we'll see, which is search and offline availability. So search and offline availability means you are actually indexing your site. Indexing your site in the sense the whole site and the subsites will be automatically indexed to your search results. So until unless, so basically it will be no first. Basically if you see those things, right, it will be no first. And if you don't want to actually get your site to a search results, right, just say no. Which means even if a admin is searching the site, right, admin is something who created the site, let us say, even if he is searching something, he will not get this result into his search results. No. If you want to enable this into your search, then click on yes, which means you are actually indexing. Indexing is nothing but, with respect to the keywords the end user is giving, it will be mapped to the keywords in your site, right? Keyword or search word is nothing but a, let us say, info is maybe one keyword, or the whole item is a key for search. In that way, right, it will be indexed. Or you can actually do some complete ASPX page. ASPX page is nothing but a complete site page. You can actually even here it is, we are saying that site content should be indexed. When I say yes, obviously the site each and every content will be exposed. And now when I say ASPX page content, so what is ASPX page content? So what exactly? So on this page, if you see, there are so many terms being written: manage this site search visibility settings, right? Something which means, so each and every word will be actually indexed. So sometimes when you do something called Google search, right, what happens? even if the term, whatever you actually enter the term, right, if that is actually mentioned in a static page, even that page will be will be coming into your search results. So that is nothing but a complete page content indexing, right? So as of now, as we are actually in SharePoint, which means SharePoint have got all the pages under ASPX pages, right? Because it is active server pages, which is completely written on .NET. So that's why we call it as the indexing of a complete page content of type ASPX, right? So even if it is static, and if you write something like content, something like this site is for batch, some batches of forwards, and if you search, even that page will be shown there. That is nothing but, so you have to index that. If you say yes, always index all the web parts and everything on your site, then obviously it will come to a complete search. So in the same way, you can see here, allow items from site to be downloaded to offline client. So what does it so what does this offline client means? So using your SharePoint, right, you can actually search a shared folders. So what do you mean by shared folder? Shared folder is nothing but, let us say, in a company, right, uh, let us say you have a LAN with you, which is local area network, which is intranet, right, where, which is again secured from a inter one sec, just give me- yeah, which is actually created in your local LAN, and that LAN is actually created as a secure as compared to internet. Now, so in intranet you will share all your folders, right? So when you share your folder across the team, right, you can actually index those things into your SharePoint, right? You can do those things into your SharePoint. That is nothing but offline client availability. When you say yes, which means from outside the client, right, you can actually search all the components of your website, which is under layouts, right? Under this folder you will be having something called under layouts. Yesterday we have seen something called inet pub, under which we have something called www.root, sorry, www.root, and under which we have something called WSS, which is Windows SharePoint server, and under that you have a port folder with the name called port name, under which you have different things called layouts, right, bin, pages, direct web config, right, or config.xml and all things, right? So those folders will be actually get into the indexing, right? So that is how we actually make your complete page or complete site into your indexing thing for your search results, right? Let me click on OK. Yeah, fine, not a problem. Okay, let's go now. So now we have seen something called how to actually create the, so this whole page, so I said ASPX page content indexing, right, which means, let us say this is one web part. Here whatever you have written here at each and every text will be indexed to your search. When you say welcome on something, it will search for each and every page to for this keyword, and if this site contains keyword, this page will be displayed in your results in the same way as we are getting in our Google, right? Now how do we actually index something called different lists, different calendars or different type of lists and libraries? So how do we do that? Again, for that you have to go to site settings, because even that is under site settings. Under your site administration you have something called site lists and libraries. When you click on that, you can see different types of lists and libraries, which is something called calendar or announcement. So again, these all things can come under two things, which is either a library or a list. Let me just select on a shared documents. If you select on a shared document, right now you can see that it is taking you to something called document library settings, and in document library settings you have something called general settings, yeah, advanced settings. Under your library you have something called advanced settings. When I click on that, so in your advanced setting of your library, which is not nothing but your document library, right, you have, let me show that, open up. Site library, share documents, advanced settings. Let me open this one in Chrome too. This is killing part. Come on. Yeah. Okay. Let it open. Yeah. Okay. So site settings, library settings. Let me click on share documents. Advanced settings. Okay. Cool. It got open. Yeah. So in advanced settings here, so this advanced settings is nothing but your library advanced settings, right? Library advanced settings. Now, so under your library advanced settings, right, you have one thing called, anyways, you can just allow manage content time. So these are something which you have already seen, and you have something called search option here, right? Search option. So by default it will be no. Anyways, by default it will be no. As I have changed it right now, actually that's why it is showing yes. By default it will be no, which means, so whatever you upload, any document or anything into your search, right? So each and every term being written on the document, I mean, or the document name or the summary or something like different, small text you are writing in your document side, it will be shown in a search results if you make it yes, right? So that is what it is saying, allow items from document library to appear in search results. Just say yes, then your document whatever you have selected, which is shared documents, will be automatically indexed to your search. In the same way, you can actually mention all your different things, right? Let us say, let me just go back to something called RSS feed site. You have course list, right? So in course list you get back to this list settings, we have advanced settings. So now we are in this, which is course list, right? You can also make it search yes. If you make search yes, right, which means whatever you upload in this course list, right, each and everything will be indexed to something called search. And when you actually search something called Java, obviously it will be getting you to this content of Java. So which we have already seen something like, if once you do something called like this one, right, or select this, and when you tag this up, right, so you can see this link in your my site, right? In the same way you can actually see the search results for one component. So which is one component again? What you need is, you need authentication for accessing that, so that will be there anyways, right? So these are, we actually do settings for, so these are the different levels. So we have seen how to set search content from central administration. Second thing, how to set in a site level or provide the indexing for the complete site, which is complete SharePoint site, right? And next one is how to provide uh, you know uh, search settings or set search indexing for different parts of your lists and libraries, right? It all depends on how many lists and libraries are there. So as of now, RSS feed contain only a batch list and course list. Now if in the same way, if you go to info IT call, there are so many things by default. You have something called calendar, where it is by default you have got, right? So all these things will be automatically indexed, which is, if you go to site settings here, services, you can see everything. So these are nothing but what you have configured already in your site. So these are the different levels where we actually give the settings for search settings. Now, so once everything is ready, right? What is happening here? So once all your site is ready, now once you are done with all the settings, right, now when you go to search client, right, I mean when you go to your search center, and here again you have something called your predefined settings. You can also make some settings in your search client too, which is like this. If you go to search client here, yeah, here you can see either you can actually search your site or search your people, right? Both are there actually. People is nothing but it will give you the profiles being saved in SharePoint, indexed profiles which are indexed in your SharePoint. It won't be searching your NT users, right? NT users are something which are out of your SharePoint, but if you want to use NT users, it will be directly downloading into the SharePoint profile. So once it is created in a SharePoint profile, which means it is indirectly is indexed to your search. So that's how search is powerful to actually search the whole site contents. So under this you have again preferences again. So in this preference actually you can actually select your language. So which language you want to actually search this, right? And you can set your default language, or you can just say whatever is a browser's language, take it up, because you can, for your browser you can actually check the language, right? That is one thing. And next thing is your advanced. So anyways, the advanced thing is same as a Google again. Whatever keywords you are giving, plus is to join two words, right? So and if you mention something like any of these words, just say when you say welcome, right, and something called hi, and just say hello, which means if any of the word is there, it will take this word and it will search, right? That's what happens. But anyways, as of now we have not indexed with this with any of the page, right? Any of the page as such, because our pages are exclusively different, which means this site is actually connected to 4858, but we have created this site under something called 24522, which is info IT collection, right? So that's why your pages from here will not be indexed to this, because we are not able to create this due to our own configuration settings. But real time, when you actually, you can try out in your machine maybe, because in my machine I've done some tweaking, so it is not actually indexing my site. You can just work the same things, do the same settings, everything, and you may give something called search enablement, right? So this is how we search, and whenever you search something, right, all your results will be coming up here, and you can actually browse on to each and everything. But anyways, each and every result you are browsing will need something called different um, permissions again. Unless you have a permission, right, you won't be able to search this. So let me just check out site as a different user for Sam maybe, right? Right, maybe if Sam have got permission into this site, he'll be able to search something. Otherwise it won't search your thing. Again, there is one more thing here. Again, your search result will be based on the permission of a user. Now, okay, you can see here this guy don't have permission on complete site, which means he won't will he will never be able to do something called searching the content. Again, whenever you are creating your site, right, you can actually make your separate search as a separate client again. So how can we make that is again in this way, like whenever you go to a new site, right? So we have seen something called don't inherit anything and create individual permissions, right? So in that way you can create a different permission for your sites search result. But anyways, in real time you won't be giving a separate search for this. And you click on more options, so you can see here where you say, if you say unique permissions, which means this site will be exclusive compared to the whole site collection, right? But in general don't do that, because if you are actually creating your site search for your collection, right, which means you are actually trying to give some help to the guys whomsoever have got the permission to the complete site, right? So that is the reason why you are providing something called search center for those them, right? So at that point you don't need But if in case if you want to give permission to only some people where they can search, right, we can do that. And again, the search completely depends on again this thing, which is in under permissions. Let us say if a guy is under visitor, right, if a guy is under visitor, let me just go to visitors, and if you add this, if you add someone called Sam here maybe, right, so if you add him as a visitor, which means once he goes to search client and once he tries to search something, right, so the each and everything will be in a read only mode. Even here if you sign as a different user, right, Sam, what's up here, we have added someone called Sam to this, right, site settings or site permissions here. Let me log out and just say admin and admin here, right. Where I'll go to my home, sites permissions, info IT for visitors. I have my Sam here. Okay, search, go to search client, site settings, site permissions again. We have separate site permissions for this. Maybe it is not editing. I don't know what we have selected. So here you have many things here. So mail IT is there. Okay, it comes under mail IT. Yeah, I forgot that. Go to mail IT visitors and just say new Sam. Click on OK. Yeah. So now let's go back to search client. So let me just sign as a different user, Sam and Sam. Yeah. Now he'll be able to do that. Now you can see he won't be able. So he is not getting something called edit page and all, right, because again your page works as if he can only have something called view and he can do nothing else. He can just maybe like it up and tag something, right, or he can go to my site again, right, which is again a direct thing, right, but he won't be able to do something called editing something, right. And let me just log in with a different user, which is admin and admin again, right. So here you can see each and everything again, right? Everything is been here again back. So this ribbon part is again same for everything. Like if you want to make this ribbon again something which is shown, right, you can actually say view hide ribbon page status. Okay, it is disabled here for now, but actually if you enable your ribbon status, right, which means every time even if you go to search client, this ribbon will be active. But anyways, by default this ribbon will be in a hidden mode, as if you can see in your normal page, your ribbon will always will be displayed actually, right. But in search, in order to provide a more space for your site to do that, right, for your more space in order to do some actions, right, that's why it gives more space, right. Go to my home. Yeah, you can see this, right. So these are we work with different search centers, until unless you give all the permissions, even this will not work, right. Even this will not work with for your document. Let me just say sp key. Let me just see if this is working in this, because I have tweaked my IIS server as such that my indexing has gone actually. So let me just search something here. So what I have done is in this info IT call, uh, yeah, okay, it is not giving. You can see here it again took to something called your search results again, right, by default. Even if we just searched our thing in direct thing, right, direct page, but it took to search center and it is saying there is nothing in here, because info IT call, we are indexing this call and this search is basically pointing to something called mail IT. Okay. You can just try out once creating a brand new site so that you can actually map the indexing, right. But the steps and everything will be the same pattern as we have seen here, right. It will be the same. So all these settings will be done by actually administrator, because in real time, so these settings will never be given to developers, right. That is for sure, because you will not get permission to something called services, never. Sometimes, because services are something which will be, if anyone disturbs. Sorry, any question there? Hello, okay, fine. So services part and services on server part, right? And starting and stopping part will be completely with administrator, who will be administrating that, right? So that's why even this part of indexing, but anyways individual site part, anyways developer have to.
Hello, Shinak.
It won't be more or less than this, right? It will be the same. Remember, it should be from central administration, right? You have to enable the service, enable the search, come back to your site, enable the permissions, enable the service, right? And enable the site thing indexing, and enable the complete ASPX space site thing, and go to each and every component level indexing thing. If you enable that, your complete site will be enabled for something called search center, right? So this is how we configure search centers uh, in Sharepoint, right? Just try out this video once, like, and let me see just whether this is working in your machines, right? I was just wondering whether it works in your machine, because I've just tweaked my IIS server and my indexing has gone actually, so that's why it is not connected directly. Again, what I have to do is I have to completely I have to remove the SharePoint from registry and do that again. But if it is a direct SharePoint server 2008, right, it will work fine. Even if I tweak something, if you just repair your SharePoint, it will repair everything, and your indexings and all the services will be actually revamped in your SharePoint server, right? So that is how we do search results and indexing thing. Yeah. Yeah, Trupti, you were asking something. I just heard.
Yes.
Yeah, Trupti, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to when you created a search site, how
Mm.
did you enable the settings? Like, where did you go to enable the settings?
Okay, so there are few different places actually. First place is your central administration, right? In central
Okay.
administration, you have something called go to application management, right? Under application management,
Mhm.
you have application, sorry, service applications. Under service applications, you have managed service applications, right? So in this managed service applications, you will be having something called uh, search service application. So this service should be initially should be running. So this is the first step you have
Okay.
to check, right? So if this is running, you can actually configure everything from here itself. If you click on that, you will get all the status and everything from here itself, what to search and what is enabled and all, whether your search
Okay.
everything is enabled or not. But anyways, this service can, you can only read this service in your Windows 7. Okay, the main part is here, which is content sources, which content you want to search. When I click on this, basically Windows 7 will get this error actually, because
Okay.
this will feature will not be enabled here. But only thing is, what you have to make sure is the service is running up and running, right? And in the same service, when you click on this service, right, which is search application, and when you click on content sources, you can actually give what content to search. You can actually select all the content to search, and you can enable each and everything. So that is the first part, which is central administration, right? Now,
Right.
once this is completely up and running, and if everything is fine, then you come back to your page. No, sorry, come back to your site collection,
Right.
right? Because in site collections you have different sites, and in different sites you have different pages, right? So for
Right.
that, so what will be the main things which can come under sites and collections? Two things. First thing is either a page or internal web parts or components, right? So now the first setting, what you have to set in order to enable your, in order to enable something called search center is, you have to actually make your uh, make your service up and running in a site collection level, which is for that you have to go to site settings, go to manage sites features. So under this, these are nothing but different features of your current site, right? So under
Right.
which you have something called SharePoint server standard features. So this search comes under something
Okay.
called so by default it will be deactivated. Actually you have to click on activate button. So only
Okay.
after activating only you will be able to create something called search client. Without that you will never be able to create that. Okay.
Okay.
So that is
Right.
the second setting which we actually mentioned, which were actually mentioned in your site. Now next is, once you are done with your search client, right? Now what you have to do is you have to actually enable your site to search. Now how to enable your site? So in the site again two things comes. One is your page, complete page, and second thing is different parts, right? Now for that you have
Mm-hmm.
to go to site settings. You have something called two things here, which is site libraries and lists, and you have something called search offline availability. So when you click on search and offline availability, when you have two different things again, which is site content and the complete page itself, page content itself. You can actually do these two indexings directly in real time.
Okay.
Most
So we
of
click on yes for both of them, right?
exactly, click on yes and just
Mm.
say always. Click on the second option for if you want to actually index the whole page, you have to say always index all web parts on this web page, right? Some pages will be very, if you feel that some pages are secured, just select never, right? So this is what it happens. So if you select always, which means it will be always indexed to the page, right? So these are the next thing which you have to do. So if you do this, which means the complete site and each and every page will be indexed to your search. Now if you want to go to each and every component you have designed, either you can directly go to the, let us say if I want to go to course list here, right? You can directly go to each and every list here, which is list, and go to list settings and go to advanced settings, and in advanced settings of each list, right, you have a separate search option. If you select yes, then only each and every item you entered into this list
Search.
will be displayed. So this is nothing but a component or web part level enablement of your search, right? So if you want
Okay.
to see all the items at once, right, you can just go to site settings, right, and you can just click on site libraries and search. You can see, so in this RSS feed site you have only two lists, so that's why you are able to see only two. If you go to info IT call and just click on site settings and go to you can see many, right? You can see here there are something called sites, you have libraries and lists and discussions and everything, right? So you can directly actually
Search.
go and select something. Again the story will be same. Go to advanced settings and enable your search. Now if you click on OK, which
Okay.
means now what we have done is we have created the whole page to search something. You have created a different sites to search something, right? And you have created a different components which are nothing but your web parts or lists or libraries to get into your search center, right? So this is how we do the different configuration settings for our search center in SharePoint server. Right.
Okay.
So was that clear, Trupti?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
clear now.
Okay, fine. So that is what is a search center, and that is how we use search centers in SharePoint. Even if you do something in here, right, it will take you to the virtual search center directly. It won't search something here and display here. It will take you to the search center. And if you don't have search center, it will actually create a virtual center and it will display. Right. So that is what happens. So this is something which is search center, and I hope this is a part which comes under an administration again, right? So any doubts in here, you can practice this up again with your this, right? So Trupti, I'll try to check out my video which I have shared yesterday, right? And let me check.
Yeah, you can ask these guys. Can they hear it? Maybe there's a problem. You can ask them.